Dr. Sashidhar?
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Okay. So we will start within 2-3 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay. Okay. So very good morning to all the participants. Today we have with us Dr. Sashidhar as the guest speaker for this session. Before he start his talk, let me take the privilege to introduce him. Dr. Sashidhar is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering at Bennett University, Greater Noida. He completed his PhD from NIT Surathkal. He published many research articles in reputed international journals and conferences. Also, he is a reviewer for many reputed international journals. His research interest includes design of robust authentication protocols for wireless and mobile networks, cross-site scripting attacks, blockchain technology, and IoT security. He has handled a Data Security Council of India sponsored project titled DNA-based authentication for securing remote resource-limited mobility environments as principal investigator. So with this small introduction, I hand over the session to Dr. Sashidhar.
Yes, sir. Thanks for introducing me. Okay, so good morning all. I would like to welcome you for today's session. So we have the session on cybersecurity with the blockchain. Okay, so just a moment. Let me share the screen first.
Yes, sir. Please make it full. Yeah, full
Yes,
screen.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, so like the things we are going to discuss in today's session, like first of all, we would like to know what are the important concepts in blockchain, right? So after that, how the blockchain is secure. Then we will discuss like where and all we can implement this blockchain. So with respect to cyber security, for security applications, like we can implement blockchain as well. Okay, so let me start with the blockchain fundamentals. First of all, let me understand the blockchain architecture. I will teach you how the architecture will looks like. Yeah. After that, we will go to the concepts related to security and blockchain. Okay, so first of all, like we would like to know what is mean by blockchain. Okay, so we know about the blockchain and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, I think. Yeah, however, I'm going to define the blockchain. Okay, how we can define the blockchain? We can say that blockchain is a chain of blocks. Otherwise, there may be a number of blocks in the network. It will be connected with the chain. So what is that chain? The chain will be the cryptographic hash, right? And also we will call like blockchain is a ledger. Okay, so the blockchain is a digital public ledger. It will record the online transactions. Yeah, so here the transactions, maybe the crypto transactions are whenever we are deploying the smart contract. Okay, so that is also a transaction. Okay, so for example, there is a transaction from A to B. Okay, so you can say that there is a 10 Bitcoin transaction. So here the sender is Alice and the receiver is Bob. Okay, so here the sender enters the like a receiver address and sends the 10 Bitcoin. Okay, so this is a transaction. This transaction will be broadcasted in the network. Okay, so this transaction will be like stored everywhere. Okay, so stored all the nodes in the blockchain. So that is a public ledger. Okay, so it will records the transactions as well as smart contracts as well. So whenever you are deploying the smart contracts or a computer protocol in a blockchain network, that will be treated as a transaction here. Okay, so that's what blockchain is, a public ledger, digital public ledger. Okay, so there is a question like why we need blockchain. Okay, so most of the people will think that so we need blockchain for cryptocurrencies, right? Yeah, so that is just one of the application of blockchain. Cryptocurrencies is just one of the applications of blockchain. Apart from cryptocurrencies, we have many use cases. We can implement many use cases using blockchain technology. Okay, so the thing is, blockchain ensures some of the security services. Yeah, so some of the important security services like authentication, confidentiality, integrity, privacy, and availability as well. Okay, so wherever these services will be required, security services will be required. So there we can use the blockchain technology. Okay, so we know like in the blockchain technology, when a new block is added by a miner into a blockchain, okay, so it will be linked to the previous block using a cryptographic hash. Okay, so I'm going to show you one architecture like how the blockchain will looks like. Okay, so how the transactions will be recorded over there. Okay, so this session also contains some hands-on. I will show you some tools related to blockchain as well. Okay, so then the thing is like when the transaction is recorded in the blockchain, it is highly difficult to alter the transaction. Okay, so whenever the transaction is recorded, the attacker, a third party, okay, so he cannot modify the transaction, he cannot edit the transaction. So that's what okay, so we have the property like in blockchain, the blockchain is a tamper proof. Okay, so no one can modify the transactions that have been stored in blockchain, right? Okay, and here I would like to discuss one formal definition. Okay, so here what is meant by blockchain? So this is a formal definition here. Okay, so blockchain is a decentralized computation and information sharing platform. Okay, so the blockchain is a decentralized network. Okay, so this is a computation and information sharing platform. Here, the people who do not trust each other, okay, so they can collaborate, cooperate in a decision-making process. So they can develop a business applications using blockchain technology. So from this definition, what we can understand, so like the blockchain provides the security, the blockchain ensures the trust and privacy. So between the users, and also the network is decentralized. Okay, so we have many advantages of decentralized networks compared to the centralized networks. Okay, so here there is no single point of failure in the blockchain network. Okay, so that is the formal definition of blockchain. Okay, so here let me discuss some of the components. Okay, so what are the important components in a blockchain system? Otherwise, the blockchain system is compromised of these components. Okay, so as I said, blockchain contains the transactions. Okay, so there is a crypto transactions will be there, and a smart contract deployment will be there, that will be treated as a transaction. Whenever you are performing an operation on blockchain, that will be treated as a transaction in blockchain. Okay, and what is the second important component is decentralized nodes. Okay, so we know the architecture of decentralized, so there is no single point of failure. Okay, so we have three types of networks, right? So there is a centralized systems will be there, decentralized and distributed. Okay, so there are some drawbacks in centralized. Okay, so there are some drawbacks in the centralized system. Okay, so in the centralized system, okay, so there may be a number of clients node will be connected to a central server. Okay, so here the relationship is like master slave relationship. Okay, so what will happen? There may be a data breaches. Okay, so the server goes down. Okay, so here it is very difficult to recover the data in the centralized architecture. So we are going to prefer the decentralized architecture. Okay, so here a decentralized network is a subset of distributed system. So, yeah, blockchain is one of the decentralized network. Okay, and another thing, like I will show you in the architecture. Okay, so the blockchain consists of encryption processes. Okay, the blockchain is secure. Why? The blockchain is made up of using strong cryptographic primitives. Okay, so we are going to use strong cryptographic primitives. Okay, we will discuss like timestamps we are using, digital signatures we are using, random numbers, nonce values. So all these crypto primitives, it will make a blockchain secure. So that's what. So blockchain also contains encryption processes in order to provide the security services. Okay, and we know that, so there is no third parties, there is no middleman in the blockchain technology. Right, so here we need a consensus mechanism. Okay, so why we need consensus? Okay, so here if any operation takes place in the blockchain network, all the nodes will validate for that particular transaction. Okay, so most of the nodes, they have to participate in validation of that particular transaction. So here if anything goes wrong in the network, in the blockchain network, so here we are going to use the consensus protocols. So the consensus protocol is a agreement. Okay, agreement in a network, so among the various nodes. Okay, it will ensure safety and reliability in the blockchain network, that is consensus protocol. Okay, and optionally we can deploy the smart contracts as well. So if you want to implement some functionality, and if you want to execute it in blockchain technology, so I will show you, so like what is the difference between normal programs and the smart contract program. Okay, so that I will show you with the demonstration. Okay, so here at this point you try to understand the blockchain also consists of smart contracts. So we can deploy the smart contracts into the blockchain architecture, blockchain network. Okay, so here the blockchain is also known as a P2P network. Okay, so here we know what is meant by point-to-point network or peer-to-peer network. Okay, so the topology is like a flat topology. Okay, so there is no centralized node or centralized services. So here all the nodes can provide the services and consume the services, right? So there is no master slave relationship in the P2P network. Okay, so which are more secure. So there is no point of failure. So which are more secure. P2P networks are more secure. Okay, so here some of the important concepts you need to understand with respect to blockchain. Okay, so there is properties. So what are the properties of blockchain? Okay, so here a blockchain is also known as a distributed ledger technology. Okay, so we know what is meant by distributed ledger. Okay, so if there is a transaction, the transaction will be recorded in the multiple places at the same time. So that is a distributed ledger. Okay, so the blockchain is a one type of DLT. So DLT stands for a digital ledger technology, or distributed ledger technology, we'll call it as frequently. Okay, so here you try to understand what are the properties of blockchain. So blockchain is one type of DLT. Okay, so these properties you need to understand. Okay, so the properties of blockchain I'm going to discuss here. Okay, so the first property is immutable. Okay, so as I said, once the transactions have been stored in the blockchain, that cannot be modified by any person. So that's what it is, immutable, or we will call it as tamper proof. Okay, so then the second property is secure. Okay, so the blockchain is secure. Okay, so all the records are encrypted securely. So we are going to use different cryptographic primitives in order to provide the security services. So obviously, it will provide a significant services, security services. The next property we have like programmable. So we can program the blockchain. Okay, so what it means? Okay, not only for user transferring the cryptocurrencies, like if you want to implement any use case in blockchain technology, so you can write the smart contracts and you can deploy into the decentralized blockchain network. So that is possible. So for this, we have various platforms will be available, various tools will be available, and even we have the programming languages, specific programming languages in order to write the smart contracts. Okay, so after that, yeah, so this is distributed property we know. Okay, so here with respect to blockchain, okay, so even the participants, the users are anonymous. Okay, for example, you can take the Bitcoin blockchain network. So in the Bitcoin blockchain network, what will happen? Okay, so like the users are anonymous. Okay, so the details of the user we're not going to reveal. Okay, so like always the details will be kept secret. That is anonymity. User anonymity will be ensured by the public blockchain network. Okay, and whenever there is a transaction occurred, okay, so that is timestamp. Okay, so we can record the date and time of a particular transaction. So with particular blockchain, there is a timestamp. That is also one of the property, and unanimous. So this is consensus again. Here, all the network participants should agree on the validity of each of the transaction or record. Okay, so these are the important properties of blockchain. Okay, so here you would like to know like what are the types of blockchain are available for development purpose. So we have different types of blockchain. Okay, so like we have the public blockchain. So the public blockchain is like a permissionless blockchain. Okay, so the public blockchain is permissionless blockchain. So here anyone can join the network and they can perform the operations. The examples are public blockchain, like we have the Bitcoin and Ethereum. So these two platforms are example of permissionless blockchain. Next, we have the second category, private blockchain. So what is private blockchain? So this is permissioned blockchain. Only known entities. Okay, so only known persons will be involved to develop the blockchain-based application. So that is private blockchain. Okay, if you want to know the platforms, like what are the platforms for the private blockchain, we have Hyperledger and Corda for that. So these are the blockchain platforms to develop applications, blockchain-based applications using private blockchain. And also like we have federated or consortium blockchain. Okay, so this is also permissioned network. So like two or more organizations, they want to collaborate and they want to develop some blockchain-based applications. Okay, so they can use a federated and consortium blockchain network. The example platforms we have Quorum and Dragon Chain. Okay, so these are the example platforms of consortium blockchain. Okay, so these are the types of blockchain you need to understand. Okay, so here there is a question, what will be the differences? So we know like permissionless and permission. Apart from that, we have some other parameters to differentiate these three blockchain types. Okay, so here we have the public blockchain, private blockchain, and federated. Okay, so what is the access? Okay, so what is the access, right? Okay, so here anyone can access. So as I said, the public blockchain is a permissionless. So here anyone can like join the network and they can perform the transactions, required transactions. So example is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin anyone can purchase. Okay, so like even they can perform the like transfer the Bitcoins. So that is possible. And even here we have private blockchain. So in the private blockchain, so this is only single organization and known entities. Okay, so here multiple selected organization. Okay, so the second point, like participant, what about the participants? Okay, so here permissionless and anonymous. Okay, so here permissioned unknown identities in the case of private blockchain and federated blockchain. Okay, and how the security will be ensured in the public blockchain. Okay, so with help of the consensus mechanisms or the consensus protocols. So we can use proof of work or proof of stake, that is POW and POS. We will discuss these consensus protocols later. Okay, and here like voting or multi-party consensus will be used in private and federated blockchain. Okay, so then what will be the transaction speed? So obviously, the more number of users in the public blockchain, the transaction speed is low. And here a private blockchain and federated blockchain. Okay, so the transaction speed is later and faster. So these are the differences between the three types. Okay, and if you want to know like what are the blockchain platforms available, so if you want to become a blockchain developer or if you want to work on the blockchain, okay, so at least you try to learn one platform. So we have more than one platform almost. So these are the top 10 blockchain platforms. Okay, so in the market, so if you want to program on blockchain, you need to learn at least one platform. Okay, so we have Ethereum, Hyperledger, IBM Blockchain, Multichain, HydroChain, Ripple, Tricoda, BigChainDB, OpenChain, IoT. So these are the different platforms will be available to develop the applications, blockchain-based applications. So if you are open source, okay, so will be available. Okay, so let me show the architecture, how the blockchain will looks like now. Okay, so just a minute. We'll switch the screen. Okay, so here, what is mean by block? So that I would like to demonstrate, right? So what is mean by block and what is mean by blockchain? Okay, so we know that block contains some information. Okay, so here the bunch of transactions will be stored in block. Okay, so here we have a simple block. Okay, so every block will be like having a block number. Okay, and here the cryptographic nonce will be used and the data section, and here every block will be having a hash value. So this is a particular block. So this is a simple block. Okay, so not only this, so we'll be having some other fields also in the header. Okay, block consists of two parts. So one is header part and the transaction part. Okay, so in the header part, the information related to mining will be stored in the header part. Okay, so in the data part, so here actual transactions will be recorded. Actual transactions will be recorded in the data section. Okay, so like every block will be having a like a hash called root hash. Okay, now we can see the simple block. So this is a simple block. So here we have a block number 1. Okay, so and the nonce. So what is nonce value? So nonce is a cryptographic nonce. The number generated once is a nonce. Okay, it's like similar to a random number. Okay, so for this here this nonce value will be required. Okay, so actually here you take the Bitcoin mining. Here the miner has to find the nonce value in order to add a new block. So if the miner wants to solve the cryptographic puzzle, I will tell you what is cryptographic puzzle. Okay, how the miner will solve that problem. So in the upcoming slides, I'm going to discuss that. So at this point, you try to understand. Okay, so there are two parts in a block. One is header part and the body. Okay, so in the data section, we are going to store the transactions. So in the header part, the information related to mining will be stored. Okay, so every block it will require a nonce value. Okay, so for example, here you can see that the block number 1, the nonce is 72608. Okay, now this is the hash. Okay, you can see something like the hash value starts with 4 zeros. Okay, so 4 zeros. Okay, so now like I'm going to perform some transaction. I'm going to type something here. You can see that the color has been changed. Okay, so now you can see that the hash value. Okay, the hash value it's going to be changed here. You can see that. Okay, so again it requires mining. Okay, so again it requires mining. Okay, so here so the mining has to be carried out by the miner. Okay, so whenever we are like modifying the blockchain, whenever we are deploying the some transaction to the blockchain, okay, so again there is a mining will be required, right? So that we have discussed. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to demonstrate how the blockchain will looks like. Okay, you can see that now I have performed the mining. Okay, so here the nonce value has been changed. So just I have pressed the miner button. Now the hash value will be also changed here. Okay, however, this is the difficulty target. Okay, so we need to mine such a way that the difficulty target, so it has to like start with 4 zeros. The preceding value starts with 4 zeros. So this is the difficulty target. The miner has to find a nonce value. Then miner, so now we can see that what is the nonce value now? 1985. Previous there was a different nonce value. Okay, so because we have performed the mining. Okay, and here what is the difficulty target for the miner? Okay, so here you need to find a hash value such a way that so the hash value should start with 4 zeros. 4 zeros. So kind of that is the difficulty target. Okay, so at what value? Okay, so this will satisfy. We don't know. Okay, so the miner has to continuously compute the nonce value. Okay, so at this value, we got the difficulty target like that. Okay, now I will show you the blockchain. Now the blockchain will looks like. Okay, we will demonstrate the blockchain. Yeah, you can see that. So here we have the picture. Here we have the picture. So previously simple block we have seen. Okay, so now here not a simple block. Here we have the 5 blocks, I think. Okay, so block 1 to block 5 we have, right? You please try to understand this. Okay, so we have 5 blocks in this chain, in this network. Okay, so let me go to the first. Okay. Okay, so total we have 5 blocks, right? So this is a blockchain actually. Okay, so actually block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you try to understand here the nonce value of the first block 11316 and the data. Okay, so there is no transactions here. Okay, and here so there is one more field. Every block will be having a previous hash value field. So this is previous hash, this is the current hash. Okay, so like in the blockchain, every block inherits from the previous block. Okay, so like every block contains the field called previous hash. So this is the previous hash. So there is a previous block and hash for that. Okay, in this network, so we have the first block. This is, so there is no any previous blocks. Okay, so block 1 is the first block in this blockchain network. There is no any previous blocks. So here the previous hash is 0. Okay, so this is first block in a blockchain, right? So the first block in a blockchain is known as Genesis block, right? So this is a Genesis block. So always what is meant by Genesis block with respect to blockchain, the first block. Okay, you can see that now how the blockchain is secure, and like we're going to use the nonce value here, and the data will be recorded here, and we have the previous hash. So we know what is meant by hash. Okay, so hash is a cryptographic hash. Okay, it will take variable length of input and it will produce as a fixed digest, that is hash function, right? So we have different types of hash functions in the cryptography. So the hash function is like a compression function, right? So we have different types of hash functions, like the SHA family. We have SHA 160, 256, 512, and we have the hash algorithms related to MD5. In Bitcoin blockchain, we are going to use SHA 256 as a hash function. So we know what is the purpose of hash function. Okay, so here we are going to use the hash values, right? Okay, so I'm speaking with respect to block 1. The number is 1 and the nonce value is this, and here we can perform the transactions. So the data will be recorded here. After that, the previous hash is 0 and hash. So this is the current hash. Okay, so the current hash of this particular block so it is 0000157. Okay, so like that, this is the current hash of a block 1. And similarly, you can see that, so we have a block 2 and the nonce value is different. Okay, so now here the previous hash. So in the second block, you try to observe. So here the previous hash means, okay, so the previous block hash. So here previous hash is this one. You can see the block 2, the previous hash is this one. Okay, that is 0000157. So like this second block is inherited from the first block. Okay, so now you can observe this, like in the block 1, I'm going to type something, I'm going to write something. Okay, so like you can see that yeah, you can see the hash values in all other blocks, right? It's going to be changed. Okay, so you can see that, like I'm going to modify yes some data, I'm going to enter some record here, so all the blocks get disturbed, right? So again it requires a mining. Okay, so again it requires a mining. Now we can see that why it is required. So yeah, the hash value is different. Actually the difficulty target should be like it has to supposed to it has to start with 0000. No, we don't have any double zeros. Again it requires a mining. That mining is performed by the miner. Okay, so how the mining will be performed, all that steps I will teach you. Now again it requires a mining now. Okay, so like you can see that the block 1 is mined. Okay, now we can see that the difficulty target has been reached. Okay, so again block 2 we need to mine. Okay, so like this. Okay, so whenever you are doing some transactions, whenever you are performing some operations on the blockchain, okay, so like it's going to be changed, all the values get be changed. That is tamper proof. Okay, so we cannot modify the blockchain. So if you are modifying, then again it requires a mining. Okay, so this is a blockchain. Okay, blockchain. Okay, so similarly you can click on like you can see the distributed blockchain as well. Okay, so the blockchain is not only 5 nodes. So like we have a distributed blockchain, like we have different types of peers. So like peer A here, B, peer C, and D. So like you can see that, so we have different nodes in each pair, blockchain nodes in each pair. Okay, so like how the actually like block will looks like, how the transaction will looks like. So here we have the scenario for that. Okay, so you can see that it can record the tokens as well. Okay, so in the block one, you can see that, so there is a block number and there is a nonce value will be there, right? So here nonce value will be there, and actually, so this is the header section, block and nonce. This is the header section. Okay, so in the transactions part, in the data part, so we have the transactions. So we have the transactions. So how the transactions will looks like in the blockchain network. Actually, here we have the names, but users are anonymous. Okay, so their wallet addresses, so we can see, so we cannot see the names. So in real time blockchain network. So because the transactions is anonymous in the network. Now you try to understand here, there is a transaction from Delcy to Bing Hill. So there is a transaction. Okay, so like dollar of 25 rupees they have exchanged. Okay, so all these transactions will be like recorded like this, right? Yeah. Okay, so we cannot modify the transactions here. Okay, so if you are trying to modify the transaction, you can see the color. Okay, so the color is changed. Now again, it requires a mining. Okay, so this block won't be accepted in a chain. So again, it requires a mining, right? Yeah. So then you try to understand like what is coin-based transaction. Okay, you can see the coin-based transaction is here. Okay, so maybe Anders, so he's a miner. Okay, so he got 100 bitcoins or dollars. Okay, so he performed some Bitcoin mining. He successfully added few blocks into the chain, and he got a reward. So he got a reward for the block. So that is 100 bitcoins or $100. Okay, so this is called coin-based transaction. So what is meant by coin-based transaction? It is not transferred by anyone. So the network will reward for adding a block into the blockchain. Okay, so that is a coin-based transaction. Now here you can see that so the Anders, so you will use this bitcoins or dollars, okay, in order to transfer others also. Okay, so here is having 100 bitcoin in his wallet, and he tries to transfer 10 to Sophia and others. Okay, so like that. Okay, here also we cannot modify the transaction. So this is a Coinbase. So just I want to tell you what is meant by Coinbase transaction. So that's what I have used here. Okay, so this is the blockchain, like how the blockchain will looks like, how the block will looks like. Okay, so this is the just a demonstration. Okay, I'll go back to the PPT now. Okay, so let me make the presentation mode. Okay, okay, so that's fine. We understood now, like what is meant by block. Okay, so like what are the crypto primitives we have used there? Like we have used the hash values and nonce. Okay, so even when you are making the payment, okay, so there will be like wallet addresses will be there, public addresses and private addresses, that is similar to public key and private key. Okay, so I will show you one wallet, Ethereum wallet, and we will discuss that. Okay, so how the security will be provided. Okay, so far we have we have discussed the architecture of blockchain. Okay, so not only that fields, so that was a simple blockchain. Okay, apart from that we have various fields. Okay, so there may be vary from blockchain to blockchain. You can see that actually the header information. Okay, so what is inside a block? A block is a bunch of transactions that have been added to the blockchain. Okay, now we can see that like there is a header part and the data part. Okay, so in the header part, so we have the information. Okay, so every block in it from the previous block, that is previous hash, it will contain, right? After that, so we have the timestamp. Okay, so when the block has been added into the chain. Okay, so this is also one of the cryptographic primitive. So the timestamp will be there. Okay, so again the nonce of each block. Okay, so the miner has to find a nonce value to meet the difficulty target, right? So here nonce value will be there. Then here there may be a number of transactions. Okay, so there is a transaction root. For all these transactions, we have a transaction root called Merkle tree root. So that is hash of block data. Okay, so here we need to find the hash for this entire transactions. Okay, so in the black data, so here we are going to store the transactions. Okay, so what is the transaction? Say to be some Bitcoin transfer. Okay, so like C to D. So all the details will be stored here. Okay, So this entire hash will be the hash of this particular block data. So we have the previous hash, the current hash, we have the timestamp and the nonce. Okay, so even some blockchains, what will be the version, what is the number of a block? So all that will be there. Okay, so this is a architecture of blockchain. Okay, so now we have discussed the structure of the block, right? Okay, so like blockchain is a like a container data structure. Okay, so the number of blocks will be linked here, right? And there is a question. So with respect to Bitcoin, Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, so like in each block, how many transactions we can place? Okay, so here the answer is each block, the average number of transactions, that is 500. Okay, so even what will be the size of a block? So you can ask me what will be the size of the block with respect to the Bitcoin. So the size is around 1 MB. Okay, so maybe it may grow up to 8 MB also. Okay, so this is the data as per March 2018. So now we can query the blockchain as well. So like so there is a API, so we can query the Bitcoin blockchain. So like what will be the size of the blockchain, how many transactions will be there, what is the block reward. Okay, so that I will show you later. Yeah, so there is a API, application programming interface. Okay, so if you are a miner, you can use this API to know the statistics about the blockchain, current blockchain network that will be available. Okay, so here the metadata we know previous block hash. What is meant by previous block hash? Okay, so there is a this one H0 is a genesis block, that is the first block in the blockchain. Okay, so now H1, so this is inits from the previous block, so that is hash of previous one, so that is the previous hash. Okay, every block inits from the previous block, so we use previous block hash. Okay, so in order to create the new block hash, so the property of like tamper proof we can achieve here with help of the previous hash. And we will discuss the mining statistics which are used to construct the block and Merkle tree root as well. Okay, so far we have discussed like mining, right? So in that diagram in the architecture we have seen mining. Actually, what is meant by mining? So what is mining? So the mining is a process. It is performed by the miner. Okay, so if the miner wants to add a new block into the chain, okay, so you need to validate the transactions. So you will collect some of the transactions that have been occurred in the blockchain network. Okay, so then you will club into your block and you need to add a signature for that. Okay, so you will add a signature for that. That is, you need to find the proof of work. So you will run the proof of work algorithm and you will find a nonce. After that, you will add a block into the blockchain network. That is the procedure. Okay, now here why mining is required? What is meant by mining? Right, so that is the thing I'm going to discuss here. The mining refers to the activity. So this mining is performed by the miner. Okay, so in order to add new blocks into the blockchain network, the mining is very essential thing. Okay, so here the mining is a mechanism. Okay, so that permits the blockchain to be created securely and in a decentralized manner. Okay, so here what are the steps in mining? So in brief, I will explain. Okay, you try to understand so how the mining will be performed by the miner. What are the steps in mining? Okay, so there are few steps, the important steps. Okay, so the first step. Okay, so you can think that so there is a Bitcoin network. Okay, so that is a decentralized network, right? Okay, so there may be a number of nodes in this network, right? Okay. Yeah, fine. Okay, so now there is a transaction. This is a blockchain node, and so this is also a blockchain node. So these are the nodes you can think. Okay, so there is a transaction. Okay, so now in this A and B are using a blockchain network. Okay, so Bitcoin blockchain network to transfer the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoins. Okay, so here when the mining will start. Okay, for example, here the sender enters the receiver's address and transfers the Bitcoin. Bitcoin of 20. Okay, so this is called token dispatch. Okay, so this is the first step. Okay, so the blockchain is a like a decentralized network and there is no third parties. So the network is not controlled by any third parties. So there is no middleman in this. Okay, so what will happen in the normal scenario? So like if you want to transfer the money, you can open your wallet and you can transfer. Okay, so the bank will verify whether you have a sufficient balance or not. Okay, if you have the balance, sufficient balance, then you can transfer. Otherwise, okay, so you will get a message like you have insufficient balance, you cannot transfer the amount, right? So that is the message. Okay, so who will verify in the decentralized blockchain network? Okay, so that's what the miners will validate that. The miners has to verify the transaction first. Okay, so now here you can see the first step. The first step in a mining is a token dispatch. So what is meant by token dispatch? Yeah, you can see that the number of crypto tokens will be transferred here. So there is a transaction from A to B. Okay, 20 bitcoins has been transferred. Not only this transaction, there may be a multiple transactions will be occurred in every second in a Bitcoin network, like that. So this is a token dispatch. Now here this transaction will be broadcasted in the network. Okay, so this transaction will be reached to C, D, E, F, all the nodes will receive this transaction. That is called broadcasting of a transaction. Okay, now here in the Bitcoin network there may be a miners. Okay, so they will collect these transactions. Okay, so they have to verify, they have to validate these transactions, right? So now here like there may be a miners here. Okay, so there may be a miners in these nodes, like selection of a transaction and formation of a block. Okay, so they will select the transaction. So once the transaction has been initiated, so that is unconfirmed. It is not confirmed transaction. The miner has to validate that transaction, then only it is confirmed, right? So currently it is unconfirmed transaction. What the miner will do? So the miner will pick the transaction, okay, and he will that is selection of a transaction and formation of a block. Okay, so like he will form a block. Okay, so he will collect the different transaction, right? Okay, so he will form a block. Okay, so the block contains, you think that, so there is a 500 transactions. Okay, so like that he will create a block. Okay, so he will create a block. After that you need to add a proof of work for this. So what is meant by proof of work? Okay, so proof of work is one of the consensus protocol. Okay, so POW or proof of work is one of the consensus protocol. So that will be used in Bitcoin and Ethereum network. Okay, so here the miner will run this algorithm. Okay, so according to the proof of work algorithm, okay, so the miner has to spend his resources, computing resources, in order to crack the value, that is nonce value. Okay, so there may be a difficulty target. So the previous block, it will throws the difficulty target. Okay, so what will be the difficulty target? So maybe you need to find a hash value. Okay, so the starting the leading zeros are preceding zeros with 5. After that some hash value. Okay, so like that you need to find a nonce value. Okay, so here you don't know how many times you need to run the algorithm, proof of work algorithm. Okay, so you need to find the correct nonce value. Okay, so there is a formula for Bitcoin mining. In the next slide I will tell you how the miner will solve this this one. I will tell you. Okay, so here the miner has to add the nonce value for this particular block, right? So that is the one, add proof of work and introduce this new block. Okay, so introduce this new block to other miners. Even other miners will verify whether he has given correct nonce value or not. Okay, so here other miners also will verify the proposed block. Okay, so if the block is valid, the block is added to the chain. Okay, so the network will reward for the miner. Okay, so the current suppose if you are a Bitcoin miner, so if you successfully adds a block into the blockchain network, so the current block reward is 6 bitcoins. Okay, 6 bitcoins. It is very difficult. The probability of finding a block is highly difficult. Okay, so there are some pool miners and solo miners. Okay, so they will work on 24 hours. Okay, to crack this hash, right? So we know the value of Bitcoin. So currently today, like the value of the Bitcoin is 42 lakhs. Okay, right? So like if miner successfully adds one particular block, he will get 6 bitcoins as a reward. So this is mining process that we have discussed. Okay, so now what is the formula? What is the formula that is used by the miner? Okay, so here you try to understand the mining. The mining is mechanism to generate a hash. Okay, so the mechanism needs to be complicated enough, okay, to make the blockchain tamper proof. Okay, so here the Bitcoin mining formula we have. Okay, you can try to understand h of k. So what is h of k? H of k is a difficulty target. Okay, so it is a difficulty target. Okay, so what is meant by difficulty target? We have seen in the architecture. So like the hash values like 00 and some hash value. So like that, okay, whenever we are performing the operations, so you need to start the hash. Okay, you need to find a nonce value. Okay, for that nonce value, the block has to generate some hash value. Okay, so it should be starts with 4 leading zeros. Okay, so that is h of k is a difficulty target. Okay, so then here the miner will use the previous block. Okay, so suppose the miner is mining 100 block. Okay, so the miner will use the previous block, that is 99th block hash, right? So this is a previous hash. H of k minus 1 is a previous hash. So then here t So here T stands for the like a transaction root. Okay, so transaction root. Okay, so we have seen the block. Okay, so here there may be a number of transactions. So what is the hash of all the transactions? So that is called Merkle root. I will tell you in the next slide. So that is transaction root. Okay, so this is the hash value of a current block. After that, you need to find one unknown number, nonce. Okay, so at what value? Okay, so this equation will satisfy. Okay, so that's what the miner has to find, this nonce value. So this is a mining formula. Okay, so the h of k is the difficulty target. After that, the previous hash that is concatenated with the root hash that is concatenated with the nonce value. So this is an unknown number. The miner has to run proof of work algorithm and you need to find the nonce value. Okay, so then the entire thing will be hashed. Then it has to reach difficulty target. It has to meet the difficulty target. So that is the thing. Here, find the nonce such a way that h of k has a certain predefined complexity. Okay, so this is the mining formula. Okay, so here the block generation, if the miner wants to generate a block, so this is a puzzle actually. Okay, so the block header. Okay, so like we will use the previous hash and the Merkle root. I will tell you what is the Merkle root. So this is a transaction hash of a current block. Okay, and you will use hash. So then you will generate a block hash. Okay, so that is h of k minus 1. Okay, concatenated with t concatenated with nonce. Okay, so the formula we have seen. Based on that, we need to produce the. Okay, so what is the difficulty target? Here, find out the nonce. So find out the nonce value. Okay, so which generates the desired hash. Okay, so the difficulty target, maybe the difficulty target like this. So these many zeros we need to produce. Okay, so this is the hash output. Okay, so if the miner wants to find this value, okay, so at what nonce this will satisfy, the miner don't know. So he has to run the proof of work algorithm, right? So this is a block generation puzzle. Okay, so now you can see that hash values and the nonce values will be used as a crypto primitives here. Okay, so here the thing, the miner who solves the puzzle first, they can add a block. So this is a network. You can think that there is a Bitcoin network. It is not compulsory like everyone has to be miner. Okay, so in this three nodes are miner nodes. So here we have miner node, here miner node we have. Three miners we have. The miner who solves the puzzle first, they can introduce the block and they will get a reward. So that is block generation. Okay, so then we are going to discuss transactions, how the transactions will be organized. Okay, so there is a tree structure called Merkle tree. Okay, so the Merkle root is used actually. The Merkle root is used to construct the block hash. Okay, so every block will be having a current hash. Okay, so there may be a number of transactions in a particular block. Okay, so how to compute the root hash using Merkle tree root? Okay, so if you change any transaction, you need to change all the subsequent block hash. Okay, so I will show you how the Merkle tree will look like. So you can see this picture. Okay, for example, you can think that, so this is a block number 100. Okay, so here we have the transactions. So we have the transactions T1, T2, T3, and T4. So we have 4 transactions in this block. Okay, so now here the transaction, so what is the hash value of transaction 1? So that one we will represent H00. Okay, so what is the hash value of the transaction 2? That is H01. Okay, then what is the hash value of T3? So that is H10. We will represent as a H10. Then here transaction hash of the fourth transaction. So that is H11. Okay, then let me call it as L2 hash. That is level 2 hash. Okay, so now here L1 hash. Okay, so what is L1 hash here? Okay, so here we are combining the hash values of H00 plus H01. Okay, so whenever we are performing the hash value, so then we will get H0. Similarly, here also H1. So we are combining H10 plus H11. Okay, so we will get the, then we are taking the hash for this entire thing. Okay, then we will get H1. So finally, what will be the root hash? Okay, so what will be the root hash? Root hash is hash of H0 plus H1. Suppose this is a block, right? So in this block we have 4 transactions. If an attacker or any unauthorized person tries to modify this block, okay, so here you can see that the hash value will be changed here, the hash value will be changed here. Again, it requires a mining. Okay, so this is a Merkle tree root. Okay, so the transactions organized in a Merkle tree structure. Okay, so the root, so this is a root. Okay, so the root of the Merkle tree is a verification of all the transactions like T1, T2, T3, T4. So this is the hash. Okay, so now we know like how the blockchain is tamper-proof, right? Okay, so and also this one, the blockchain. Okay, so the blockchain ensures the anonymity. So with respect to Bitcoin blockchain, okay, so it will ensure the security service called anonymity. Okay, so what is mean by user anonymity? The user details should not be revealed. Okay, so here the Bitcoin network, the Bitcoin blockchain network, it will ensures the property. So it will ensures the property called anonymity, right? So because the Bitcoin is a public blockchain network, it is a permissionless network. Okay, so if you want to create an account, if you want to open a wallet, Bitcoin wallet, okay, you no need to give your personal information. Okay, so here you no need to give your personal information like your email ID, username, or the password. Okay, so whenever you are downloading the wallet will generate you the keys, the required keys. So that is a public key and the private key. The public address and the private address will be associated with the wallet. Okay, so I will show you that. So we have the one wallet. I will show you or demonstrate how it will looks like, the public address and the private address that will be associated with the wallet. Okay, so here the public and private keys do not need to be registered. The wallet can generate the private and public keys for the users. Okay, so later the addresses can be used. The Bitcoin addresses is used for the transaction. Okay, so we are not going to use any username or identity. So like that. Okay, so here the users are always anonymous in the network. Okay, so the anonymity is one of the security property. So it will ensure the user privacy, right? Okay. Next, okay, so just a minute. Like I will show you like how the wallet will looks like. What is meant by public key and private key with respect to that. Okay, so let me switch the screen. Okay, so like we have one interesting wallet, so that is supported by Ethereum. So we can install in our browsers. Okay, so the name is called MetaMask. Okay, so the MetaMask is one of the wallet. So one of the Ethereum crypto wallet. Okay, and here we can use the this particular wallet. Okay, so let me open that. I will show you that Ethereum wallet. So it is protected with the password. Okay, so here, so this is a wallet. So let me make it expand view. Let me open in expand view. So actually, what is this MetaMask? So MetaMask is one of the Ethereum browser or Ethereum wallet. Okay, so here we can create the accounts and we can transfer the ethers. Okay, so what is mean by ethers? So ether is also one of the cryptocurrency. So like one of the highest market. So this is one of the second largest cryptocurrency. Okay, so the first one is Bitcoin. The second one is Ethereum. Okay, so according to the market cap, the Ethereum is one of the cryptocurrencies. Okay, so here we can also deploy the smart contracts in the Ethereum network. So here the MetaMask. So currently MetaMask is one of the wallet, Ethereum wallet, and it will access the Ethereum browser as well. Okay, so here we have different public networks. So with help of this, you can connect to the main network, the Ethereum network. And also the public test networks are there, Ropsten test network, Coven test network, Ringbay test network. Okay, so even you can run the local blockchain network in your systems using the Ganache. Okay, so in the local host, so all these options will be available. So let me open any one of the account. Okay, so here you can see that. So here I'm going to use one public test network called Ropsten test network. Okay, so here this is my address. So like I have created, like I have renamed the like, so there was some account address I have renamed, like my name I have kept here. Okay, so this is the address, this is the public address you can see here. Okay, so this is a public address. Okay, so in this public address I have the some ethers. So test ethers like 0.8541 ethers I have. Okay, so one current ether, one ether is equal to like 2,74,000 I think. So current market. Okay, so this is the test ether, like for the testing purpose I have used here. Okay, so I would like to tell you. So this is one of the Ethereum wallet. Okay, so where is the private key and public key? How the account will be secure? So that one I would like to demonstrate currently. Okay, so I will show you here. You can see here account details. So you can click on the account details. Okay, you can see that. So this is the QR code for my particular MetaMask account. Okay, now here you can see that this is the address. So this is the public address. So this is some hash value or hexadecimal address you can see. Okay, so this is my public address. Okay, whenever I'm installing the MetaMask, okay, so the wallet itself, it will generate the public address for me. Okay, so it will generate the public address for me. Okay, so then what will be the private key? So this is the public key. So this public key or the public address can be used by others. Okay, so if anybody wants to transfer some ethers, some crypto tokens to me, so they can use this public address. So this is my public address. And what is my private key? So here I can see my private key. Okay, so it is password protected. I need to enter my password. Okay, you can see that. So this is the private key. Okay, so now you can see that once you have installed the MetaMask wallet. Okay, so the MetaMask are Bitcoin wallet. So this is similar to one of the crypto wallet. Okay, so the wallet will generate you the public key and private. Okay, so no details we are going to give. Okay, so this is like MetaMask. Okay, so how this it will work? So just a minute, let me transfer some crypto tokens. Okay, so here I have the account. So in this I have some 0.8 ethers. Okay, let me take one more account. So even you can create some other account. Okay, so here I have one blockchain account, I think. Okay, you can see that I don't have any ethers, 0 ethers I have. Now I want to transfer some crypto tokens. So from my main account to this blockchain account. So like I will copy this address, right? I'll copy this address. I'll go back to my account. Okay, so I'll go back to my account. Now, so we have the options. So we can buy the ethers. So we can send the ethers. Okay, so here you can see the wallet. Here, what is the assets I have? So the asset is 0.8 ethers I have, and the activities. Here activities also. So what are the transactions that will be logged here? Okay, so let me make some transaction here. Okay, so let me transfer. Okay, so just I'm going to transfer some crypto tokens, ethers to the blockchain account. Okay, so 0.8 I have, like 0.1 ether I'm going to transfer to that particular account. Okay, yeah, so now here there is a symbol at the bottom. Okay, you can see that like here 0.1 I need to transfer. So like the account address is this one. Okay, so just I have names I have given, that's what it's displaying. Okay, so the block details I will show you, however. Okay, so the estimated gas fee. So actually, so there is a gas fee is applicable. What is meant by gas fee is here. Okay, so here like the Ethereum network, so there is a fuel. So that is gas. Gas will be required. If Ethereum network wants to operate, the gas will be required. Okay, so for that gas, we need to pay something. Okay, so with help of ethers. Okay, so there is a transaction fee, that is gas fee. Okay, so here if you want to transfer 0.1, okay, so there is additional transaction fee will be applicable. Okay, so amount plus gas fee, so the maximum amount this one, so 0.100041. So this is the amount will be deducted. Okay, now I will make transaction confirm. Okay, you can see the status of the transaction. Okay, so this is the transaction, so it is pending. Okay, so I'm going to transfer some cryptos from Shashi to the blockchain account. So it is pending now. Okay, so if you want, you can speed up. So it will take a while. So just a minute. Okay, so it will take a while. After that, I will show you the block details. Okay, so the one I will open the block and I will show you how the block is secure, how the block is anonymous. Okay, how it provides privacy to the users. Okay, so the network corruption network is running low. Okay, so we can speed up the process. Yeah, I think it's confirmed. Yeah, it is confirmed now. You can see that like I have transferred 0.1. Now the 0.7 is there in this account. So let me switch the account. So let me see the receiver's account. Yeah, so previously it is 0. Now 0.1 ether I have received. Okay, let me explore the block details. So where is the transaction has been recorded? Where is the block will be available? Okay, so here you can click on this. See, you can see all the details. So let me open this on Etherscan. So there is an option. So there is a transaction ID. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so these are the details. Okay, so these are the details related to my transaction. It has been stored in blockchain network. Okay, so for every transaction, there is a transaction hash will be there. So this is a transaction ID. So the transaction I have transferred like a 0.1 from one account to the another account. For that, there is a transaction ID, that is the transaction hash. Okay, so what is the status? Yeah, you can see the status. So what is the status of the transaction? It is success. Okay, so what is the block number? Okay, so the block number is added to the chain Ropsten test network. So this is the block number 811-80054 and timestamp. You can see that. Okay, so 1 minute ago, okay, so the transaction is happened. Okay, from which address? So this is the address and to address this one. Okay, so from this what you understood. Okay, so like here users are anonymous. Okay, so like I have transferred the name of the account is Shashi and the receiver account is blockchain. Okay, so here we are going to see some hexadecimal addresses, some values. So with help of this, so we cannot trace the user, right? So that's what. So it will ensure the anonymity. Okay, it will provide the privacy to the users. And what value we have transferred? 0.1 ether we have transferred. And what will be the transaction fee? This is the transaction fee applicable, and the gas fee is this one. Yeah, so if you want to see more details, you can see. So the gas limit, gas price. So these are the terms: gas limit, gas price. Okay, so with respect to Ethereum. Okay, so like how many ethers the user has to pay for that particular transaction in order to execute. Okay, so that is gas limit. So all that will be there. You can see the block details. So what is the nonce value of this? This one 37. Okay, so all the details you can see. So these are the block details that will be recorded in the chain. Okay, so here like you can take this transaction hash and you can search. So who has performed this transaction, you'll get the details as well. So like this, all the details will be logged into the blockchain network. So here just we have used the test network for that. Okay, so I think you understood like how the you can see that how the account like private and public keys will be generated by the wallet. So once you have installed this, so it will automatically like generate a private key and public key. Otherwise, for private address and public address for the particular user. After that, you can perform the transactions. So that is possible. Okay, so let me go to the presentation again. Okay, so some of the crypto primitives we have discussed, like how the nonce value will looks like, what is meant by private key and what is meant by the public key. Okay, and what about the timestamp? So all these are crypto primitives. It will make it will provide a significant security to the blockchain, right? So even we have the if there is a transaction from A to B, the transaction will be signed by the sender. Okay, so using the sender's private key. Okay, so again, so there is a digital signature concept will be there. Okay, so even the receiver will verify the signature. So before claiming that bitcoins or cryptos, he will verify the signature. Okay, so we know the Bitcoin and the Ethereum networks, it's going to be used the digital signature algorithms like the ECDSA, that elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, all that. Yeah. Okay, so here one more concept you need to understand with respect to blockchain security, like consensus algorithms or consensus protocols, right? So just I will brief this, like why these consensus protocols or algorithms will be required. What will happen if you are not using consensus protocol? So like every blockchain platform, okay, every blockchain network, okay, it's going to be use at least one consensus protocol to ensure the correct operations in the network. Okay, so like here we have the definition like a consensus protocol. Okay, so the blockchain technology permits the network participants to reach an agreement. Okay, so here like decisions should be taken by all the users. Okay, so all the nodes. Okay, so that is consensus will be required. So if anything went wrong in the network, or if the transaction should be verified by the validators. Okay, so like not you take the decision from all other validators, right? So this is the agreement. Okay, so consensus is an agreement in the network. Okay, so as I said, which is used to ensure the safety and reliability in the blockchain network. So actually, this consensus is a procedure to reach in a common agreement. Okay, so in a distributed or decentralized networks. Okay, so even these consensus protocols are very important for message passing systems. Okay, the question is why consensus protocols are required. So what will happen if you are not using the consensus protocols in the blockchain network? Okay, so here the main purpose, as I said, the consensus protocol, it will ensure the reliability. Okay, so it will resist against various attacks, and it will tolerates the faults in a distributed system. In order to ensure the correct operations, we need consensus protocols. Okay, so and there is a question like the blockchain is one of the distributed and decentralized network. So what are the different types of faults will be there? What are the different types of faults will be there? Okay, so with respect to the distributed system like blockchain, there may be a different types of faults will be there. Okay, so the first one is crash fault. Okay, so there may be a nodes, blockchain nodes, right? The blockchain nodes in the network. Okay, so here while performing the mining or validating the transaction. Okay, so here we need to get at least some confirmations to approve the transaction. Here there is a crash fault, the particular node is not available. Okay, so these two nodes will be not available. At least we need 4 confirmations to promote the transaction. Here 2 nodes are not available. What we have to do? Okay, so that is we need to use some consensus algorithm in order to avoid such problems, right? So here crash fault is nothing but a node suddenly crashes, or it becomes unavailable in the middle of the communication due to software failures or hardware failures. Maybe some nodes will be not available. Okay, so at that time what we have to do, what action has to be taken, right? So for that the consensus algorithms will give the answer. For that we need to use some consensus algorithm for that will ensure how many votes we need to take, how many confirmations we need to get, all that. So with respect to that, we have different consensus protocols in blockchain like Paxos, Raft. So we have different algorithms. Okay, so the second fault is network or partition fault. Okay, so here all the networks will be connected. Okay, right. So there may be now here there is a link failure. Okay, so here it will become the subnetwork. So this link fails. Okay, so there is a 2 subnetwork, subnetwork 1, subnetwork 2. Okay, so here what will happen? How to achieve the consensus here? Okay, so here a network fault occurs, say the link failure, that is communication channel failure. Okay, and this networks gets partition. Now how to achieve the consensus? How to come to a particular agreement? Okay, so here for this also we need some consensus algorithms. Okay, so here crash fault and network faults will be dealt with this consensus protocols, PAX and Raft, and even we have other protocols as well. And one more fault in the distributed network we have like a Byzantine fault. So what is meant by Byzantine fault here? Okay, so here what will happen? So this is a decentralized network. Maybe a particular node is giving a false answer. Okay, so that is wrong answer with respect to the validation of a transaction. So here a node starts behaving malicious. So that is abnormal behavior. Even the transaction is valid, that particular node says it is invalid. Okay, so even sometimes, okay, so the transaction is invalid, it says valid. Okay, so how to eliminate such nodes? Okay, so that is Byzantine faults. Okay, so again we need consensus algorithms to avoid these problems, right? We need a consensus algorithms to avoid crash fault, network fault, or Byzantine faults, right? So here what will be the objective of consensus algorithm? Like in the network, the blockchain network, they have to come to an agreement. Okay, they have to accept single value, right? After that they have to they have to collaborate, and they have to cooperate, and they have to decide with which value we need to accept. So which transaction is valid and invalid, that we need to decide. After that equal rights to every node. Okay, there may be a number of nodes in the network, so we need to provide equal rights to every node to validate that particular transaction. Even the things like mandatory participation in the consensus process, that will be required. Okay, so a consensus algorithm that finds that aims to find common agreement, so that will be the win for the entire network. So these are the objectives, the main objective in order to ensure the safety and reliability. Okay, so we need consensus protocols. So we have various consensus protocols in the blockchain network. Okay, so so far we are discussing Byzantine fault, right? Here we would like to discuss one problem called Byzantine general problem. Okay, so this problem will be applicable in the distributed network as well, like blockchain. Okay, so what is meant by Byzantine general problem? What is the solution for that? We will discuss now. Okay, so consider a message passing system. Okay, so here general behaves malicious. So consider, okay, so in an army, there may be a majors, right? We will call it as generals. Okay, so the majors will be located in different places with their team. Okay, so you can see that, so there are four majors or four generals. Okay, so just let me call it as G1, G2, G3, general 3, and G4. Okay, so here you can see that before they're going to attack on enemies, they want to exchange the messages. Okay, so about the situation. Okay, so whether we can attack, otherwise we have to withdraw the attack. So that they need to discuss, right? So for that we are going to use some message passing system. Okay, so they will transmit some messages each other. Okay, you can see that here like a general one says that attack. Okay, so 3, 4, and okay, so they're happy, they're telling that like we can attack on the enemies, the situation is okay. So here one particular node, okay, so G2, okay, so this general is saying retreat, so withdraw the attack. Okay, how to believe this? So maybe he is malicious, right? So how to deal with such problems? So the same concept will be applicable in blockchain. Okay, maybe there may be a number of blocks. Okay, so here this particular miner, this particular block says that, so this is a invalid transaction or a valid transaction. So the decision is opposite to others. Okay, so how to eliminate such problems? Okay, so we need a solution for Byzantine general problem. Okay, so for that we have a solutions, consensus algorithms like BFT. Okay, so the BFT stands for Byzantine fault tolerance. Okay, so there are variations of BFT. So practical Byzantine fault tolerance and Byzantine fault tolerance. Okay, so this is the solution. Okay, so here BFT is one of the protocol in order to eliminate the BFT is one of the protocol or consensus algorithm in order to eliminate the faults, Byzantine faults. Okay, so here you try to understand. Okay, so in BFT is one of the feature of distributed network in order to reach the consensus. So even some of the nodes in the network, so they may fail to respond or respond with the incorrect information. We can use this protocol. Okay, so the objective of BFT is to safeguard against the attacks. Okay, so again we need to discuss the BFT algorithm as well. Okay, how it will ensure these faults. Okay, so not only BFT, in the Bitcoin and the Ethereum, we are going to use the proof of work algorithm. Okay, so the central idea behind this algorithm to solve the mathematical puzzle. So that we have discussed, the miner, what he has to do, he need to solve the mathematical puzzle in order to add a new block into the blockchain network. For that, you need to spend so much resources, computing resources. Okay, so that proof of work algorithm also one of the consensus, and alternative to proof of work, we have POS, that is proof of stack. Okay, so here the nodes will be known as validators. Okay, so even they will validate the transactions. So even they will validate the transaction. Okay, so what they will get? Okay, so the validators will get the transaction fee. So the concept is like, okay, so if the miner wants to validate the transaction, they will put some bet on that. So they will lock the amount. So if they have some stack, they will lock, the network will lock. Okay, so after that, after successfully verifying that particular transaction, you will get the transaction fees plus what is the amount you have spent. Okay, so kind of the protocol, that is proof of stake. Okay, so here there is no mining. Okay, so here the nodes are validators. The miners are the validators that you need to understand in proof of stake. So more algorithms are there, consensus algorithms, you can refer that. Okay, so like RAPT is there, Paxos is there, BFT, PBFT, POW, POS. Okay, so variation of the algorithms. Okay, so like each algorithm will be used by particular blockchain network in order to ensure the correct operations. Okay, so here we're going to discuss some other important concept like the smart contracts, right? Yeah, smart contracts we have. Okay, so what is mean by smart contract actually? Okay, smart contract is a computer protocol. Okay, so or a computer program. Okay, if you want to implement some functionality, you can write that functionality. Okay, so using a particular programming language, you can code it. Okay, and you can deploy into a decentralized blockchain network. Okay, so what is the advantage? Like it will ensure many security services, right? And it will ensure the trust, it will ensure the transparency. So all the services. Okay, so for that we have a smart contract. A smart contract is a computer protocol or agreement between the various users. Okay, so it is called smart. So because it is digital. Okay, so this is automated. Okay, so I will tell you how the smart contract will execute. Okay, so at this point you try to understand how the smart contract execution will take place. Okay, so now you can say that there may be users, not only two users, two or more users, they can create a smart contract. So what is meant by smart contract? The user has to define set of rules. Okay, if the user wants to implement some application, okay, so the user has to specify the what are the rules, what are the terms and conditions for that, right? The users will create a smart contract based on the functionality. Okay, so how to create a smart contract? Okay, so we need some particular programming language for that. Okay, so here all contract terms are written as a code using some particular programming language. Okay, so here we can use Solidity programming language. We can use Solidity programming language in Ethereum and Go language and JavaScript and Python in Hyperledger. So we have various programming languages to develop the smart contracts. Okay, so the functionality will be implemented using smart contract. Okay, so the code is written using a particular programming language. After that, the code can be compiled using the compilers. Okay, then the EVM code will be generated. The bytecode will be generated. Okay, so after that, that can be deployed into a particular address in the blockchain network. So that is the thing. The smart contract is stored in blockchain network. Okay, so no one can modify the smart contract, right? So based on the functionality, what we have implemented, the smart contract will take an independent decision and it will behave in the contract. Okay, it will perform the operation, what we have mentioned in the code. Okay, so that is the smart contract. Okay, so that is the thing. Here, a smart contract execute itself. Okay, and like based on the events which are triggered. Okay, so I will show you how the smart contracts will be executed. Okay, so before that, you try to understand why we need smart contracts actually. Okay, so there are various advantages of using smart contracts. First of all, it will provide a security. Okay, so because the smart contracts will be executing on a blockchain network, the blockchain is made up of strong cryptographic primitives. So obviously, it will ensure the security services like confidentiality, authentication, privacy, right? Okay, so that security services will be ensured, and it is speed. Okay, so in the traditional system, like if you want to make an agreement in the traditional paper-based works, so it will take a time. Okay, so this is automated. This is digitalized. So like speed and with a low cost. Okay, so the applicable transaction fee will be very low to run the contract. Okay, so the smart contracts are standardized, and even we can ensure the accuracy. So in the traditional works, so there may be errors. So it will ensure the accuracy as well. We can ensure the transparency, and the contract is autonomy. It can take an independent decision based on the code what we have specified, right? So these are some advantages of smart contracts. Okay, so let me show you some smart contracts, how we can execute and how it will provide a security. Okay, just I will change. Give me a minute. Okay, so let me execute one contract. Okay, I'm going to use one IDE called Remix IDE. So this is online IDE. Okay, so I would like to deploy one contract. Okay, so let me take one election contract. I already have some election. Oh, sorry. So this is a contract actually. Okay, so this is a smart contract. I have written in Solidity language. You can see the structure. So this is Remix IDE is one of the editor. Okay, so for compiling the contracts. Okay, for compiling the Solidity contracts. So here I have used Solidity programming to develop a contract. Okay, so here I'm not going to explain you the code. So just in brief, so what are the functionalities? So just I'm going to tell you. Okay, so here we are going to create a contract called election contract we are creating using Solidity programming. Okay, so here what are the functions? So like we can add the candidates to the election. Okay, so who are the contestants in the election? We can add them and we can display the names. Okay, so who are the contestants and they belongs to which party, so that we can do. After that, here the concept is like the voter. Okay, so the voters can vote to a particular candidate using Ethereum address. Okay, so using a unique Ethereum address. So each voter will be given a Ethereum address. Okay, so with help of that Ethereum address, you can cast a single vote, so not more than that. Okay, so you can cast a single vote to a particular person, not more than that. Okay, so that vote will be counted and it is stored in a decentralized network like blockchain. Okay, so that is the concept. Okay, so for that we have written the contract using Solidity programming. Okay, so and we have added the candidates. So this is the functionality. Okay, so let me execute this contract first of all. Okay, so first here also, like other programming languages, yeah, Solidity is one of the programming high-level programming language. The syntax is almost similar to JavaScript and object-oriented programming. Okay, so here we have the IDE. Let me compile the contract. So here we have the options. So at the left side, home. Okay, so the contract, this one, the file we have taken. Okay, so the third option. Okay, so there is a compilers. Okay, so you can select the auto compile. You can select the compile. Okay, so here based on the version, Solidity version, so it will take a compiler. There may be a number of versions, Solidity versions. So this is currently we have written 0.4.2, the Solidity version. The name of the contract is election, right? So like compile it. So you can click on the auto compile. Yeah, you can compile it. Yes, we have compiled it. The compilation is successful. Okay, so now we need to deploy into the blockchain network. Okay, let me open the blockchain network. So like I'm going to use one personal blockchain network called Ganache. So I have installed in my system. So let me open it. So it will take a while. Be patient. It is loading. So I'm going to run one personal blockchain network called Ganache. So we'll start with quick start. Yeah, you can see that. So this is my personal blockchain network. Okay, so this is my personal blockchain network. Here I have so many options. So these are my accounts. So here I have 10 Ethereum accounts. So you can see that account one. So each account we have 100 ethers, 100 ethers for the development purpose. Okay, so this is the first account. So this is a public address of the first account. Okay, we have 100 ether balance. Now here we have the key. You can click on the key. Okay, you can show the private key. Okay, so now this is the public key of the account. Okay, now here you can click on the key option. You will get the private key for that. Okay, so now second account is this one, like this. So we have 10 accounts. Each account will be having 100 ethers. Okay, so the index also we have maintained. Okay, so the account 0, account 1, 2, 3. Now we can see that here there is no transactions have been recorded so far. All right, the transaction count is 0. No transactions have been recorded so far. Okay, so now here you can see that blocks. So there is no blocks. So this is a 0th block. Okay, so we have no blocks will be there. And if any transactions will be recorded, here transactions we can see. Okay, so there is no blocks. Okay, there is no transaction so far. And here we can see the contracts. Okay, so actually this is one of the personal blockchain network, and the network ID, the blockchain network ID is 5777. Okay, and here the port number. So in my local system, so in the port number 75450, so we are running the network, blockchain network. Okay, so these are the gas price, gas limit. So all these the terms related to Ethereum network. Okay, so now I want to deploy the contract to this blockchain network. Okay, so that is the concept. Okay, so how to do that? I will minimize this. Okay, so now here we have the election contract. Here we have an election contract. The contract we have compiled. Okay, now I want to deploy to the network and to the personal Ganache network. Okay, so now let me make a connection. Okay, so like I want to through MetaMask, I'm going to connect that. So I will open the MetaMask. I will switch the network here. Here currently I'm in the Ropsten test network. So I will select the Ganesh. Okay, you can see that I have connected to Ganesh network. So actually, like I want to import some accounts. So I want to import some accounts for that. Okay, so just a minute. Yeah, here is the Ganesh network. Okay, so I will import this account. So let me take the account 0. Okay, so like I will take the private key here. Okay, so just I'm copying the private key of the account 1 in Ganesh. Okay, so I'll go back to the MetaMask. So MetaMask I have installed in the browser. The MetaMask I have installed in the browser. So let me close this. Yeah, let me open the MetaMask here. Okay, you can see that like Ganesh is connected. Here the accounts address is yeah, let me switch the account actually. So here I have some accounts, I think. Okay, so account number 6 already I have imported. Okay, so there is a notification. Okay, so yes, connect. Connect this. Okay, so from Ganesh to here we can import the account. So there is an option called import account. You can click on the import account. So just you can paste the key. Okay, so the key we have copied from Ganesh. Yeah, from here we have copied, right? And you can paste here. You can import the accounts. So we have 10 accounts in Ganesh. Okay, so you try to import at least one account. Okay, so now already I have imported one account. You can see the account 6, the account 6. So the address is ends with B1. Okay, so the address is ends with B1. Okay, so it will be having 100 ethers. Okay, so 100 ethers we have. Okay, so let me see where is that B1 account. Okay, so B1, yeah, this is the account actually. So the address is ends with B1. So this one I have imported to MetaMask. Now let me run the contract. Okay, so first I need to deploy it, right? So now I have connected. Ganesh is connected to MetaMask. That's done. Now I need to deploy into the blockchain network. How to do that? Okay, so how to do that? We have the option here. So we can select here fourth option. Fourth option, deploy and run transactions. Okay, so deploy and run transactions. You can and here you need to select this environment. The environment is injected Web3. Okay, so injected Web3, the environment. Now we can see that injected Web3 I have used. Now here the account address is fetched here. Okay, so the account address ends with B1. So that is Ganesh account. Okay, I have connected the remix to Ganesh using MetaMask. Okay, so the address is B1 now. Okay, so now I will run the this one contract. So let me deploy the contract first. So deploy the contract. The contract, you can see the election.sol. It's already the code we have written. And then try to deploy it. Deploy. So yeah, here there is a transaction notification. Okay, so confirm the transaction. Okay, so you can come to blockchain network and you can check whether the transaction has been recorded. Okay, so the transaction is failed. Okay, so already I have deployed from this account. Let me change the account. Yeah, so I will try to import. So one more account, so that is account address is ends with 475. Okay, so this one I will try to import. I will copy the key. You can see how to import. Control C. Just to go to the MetaMask. You can use the import option. Import account. Okay, so the key what you have copied, you paste it and you can click on import. Okay, so it is not connected. You can say that connect. Okay, so now it is connected. Okay, so let me change the injected Web3. Yeah, you can see that here is 75. Okay, 7475. Okay, so let me deploy this transaction to there. Yeah, confirm. Yeah, you can see that the contract is deployed now. Okay, so for that, some ethers has been detected. Previously, it was 100 ethers. Now we have 99.98. Okay, so here you can see the contract deployment. You can go to the network, Ganache network, and you can see the details. Okay, you can see that. So here the transaction has been recorded. Okay, so here you can see the 7475. Okay, so previously it was 100 ethers, here 99.9. Okay, so there was a fee for contract deployment. After that, the transaction recorded is 1. Transaction count you can see 1. Okay, so now here you can see the blocks mined. Okay, so 1 block has been added. Okay, and you can see the transactions. So this is the transaction ID. Okay, actually I have deployed a contract into the blockchain network. So for that, transaction ID is generated. Okay, so now I will interact with the contract. Actually, what is the contract? I will interact with the contract. I will go to the Remix IDE. Right, I will go to the Remix IDE now. Yeah, here you can see the at the bottom, you can see the contract deployment option. Like this is the contract we have deployed. Okay, so the deployed contract. After that, you can see the deployed contracts. Okay, so here we have the functions. So we have written a solidity code for e-voting using blockchain technology, right? So here we have used the Ethereum to develop that. Here you can see that options. So like here we have the different options. Okay, so we can see the candidates in the election. So we can see the candidates count, how many are there in the election. Okay, and you can vote for a particular candidate. You can vote for a particular candidate. Okay, so here we have different colors, right? So 3 buttons, it will be having a blue color, and one button is yellow. So this is just contract call. So these buttons are not just contract call, and vote, it will create a transaction in the blockchain network. So that's what it is, a different color. Okay, so it's in yellow color. Okay, so let me see the first. So if I want to vote, okay, actually I'm voting from this account. Okay, I'm a user. You can think I'm a user. Okay, I'm a voter. Okay, so my voting address is this one. Okay, 7475. So this is my Ethereum address. So with help of this, I want to vote for a particular candidate, and the vote should be stored in the blockchain network. Okay, so now you can see that first, if I want to vote, I want to know the candidates. Okay, so before voting, I want to know the candidates, who are the contestants who are in the election, right? So for that, like candidates, you can see, actually we have mapped 4 candidates we have mapped. So you can click the number 1. Okay, you can see the details of the candidate 1. You can see that unsigned integer number. Okay, so the ID is 1 is mapped to the string name. Okay, so like Modi, the candidate 1, the party, and vote count is 0 currently. And if you want to see the 2, who is the candidate 2? Okay, so you can see the candidate name 2 is Kejriwal, AAP, vote count is 0. Okay, and if you want to know who is the candidate 3, okay, so change the name. Okay, so here Rahul Gandhi, Congress, and the vote count is 0. Okay, so like that, total we have 4 candidates in the election. We have written a contract like that. Okay, so now, yeah, so I want to vote for a candidate 2. Okay, so I want to vote for a candidate 2. So that is Kejriwal. Okay, so now what I have to do here, vote option is there. Okay, you can click on that. Just you need to enter the number. Okay, so you have 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is mapped to a particular candidate, 2 is mapped to a particular candidate, like that. Suppose I want to vote for candidate 2. Okay, so it will create a transaction and it will record in a decentralized blockchain network. You can see here. Yeah, so it is recorded, and if you want, you can see the blockchain. So now previously it was 1 transaction, now 2 transaction. Okay, so the blocks mined, yeah, 3 blocks has been added. 0, previously 0, contract deployment 1. Okay, so voting 2. The transaction details you can see. So this is the address. Okay, transaction has been generated for the voting. Okay, actually I have voted for the candidate 2. Okay, so the details have been recorded in the blockchain network. Okay, so with the help of this transaction ID, I can trace. So like that, we can ensure the transparency also. Okay, so we can trace our vote. Now let me go back to the this function. I will see so whether the vote is successfully right. So like I have casted my vote to the candidate 2. Now I will check. So what is the status of candidate 2? So I will call it. You can see that now the vote count has been increased. The vote count has been increased. Okay, now I can vote only once. So if I'm voting for the second time, okay, with the help of that particular address, so it won't take. So only one vote we can cast. Okay, with help of the Ethereum address. So like that we have written a contract. So like that we have written a contract, right? Yeah. So now other options also you can try to explore. Yeah, candidate count. So like if you want to know how many candidates are there in the election, there are 4 candidates. Okay, and here you can verify. Okay, so like if you are confused whether you have voted or what, okay, so here you can give your Ethereum address and you can uh, uh, you came to know like you come to know which whether you have voted or not. Just go to here. So just go to here and copy the address. So which is your voter address? This one, right? Yeah, you can copy this. So this is your public address. Okay, you can copy this and you can go to here. Okay, so address you enter. So it will fetch us. So here the voter function will be implemented using Boolean data type. So if you have voted, it will display true. If you are not voted, so it will display false. So it means from this address, have you voted? Okay, if it is yes, true, otherwise false. So what is the result? Yeah, I can you can see here the bool true. It is true because I have voted for a candidate 2. Right? Yeah, you can see like how the block details will be recorded in a decentralized blockchain network. So this is a smart contract actually. So not only the crypto transfer, okay, so it will support for like contract deployment. Okay, so the contracts will be logged in a decentralized blockchain network. Okay, yeah. So now I'll go to the PPT again. So far you understood like how to write the contract, how to deploy the contract into decentralized blockchain network. So let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so we have discussed smart contracts, right? We have discussed smart contract. What is meant by smart contract? What are the advantages of smart contract? Okay, now, yeah, now we know like how secure is blockchain. So the blockchain is made up of strong cryptographic primitives. So that we have seen. Okay, so we have used timestamps, we have used random numbers, we have used signature algorithms, we have used the hash functions as well. Okay, so like the blockchain ensures so many services like we can ensure the privacy, authentication, okay, then transparency, trust, we can ensure all the things. Okay, so like with respect to security services, okay, we will discuss now how secure is blockchain. Okay, so we know that the blockchain is a tamper proof. Okay, so according to many security professionals, so no one can hack, no one can modify the data, so that has been stored in the blockchain, so that we know. Okay, so now here blockchain with confidentiality. So how the confidentiality can be achieved? So we know what is meant by confidentiality. Confidentiality is one of the security service. Okay, so the information should not be, sorry, the information should kept secret while transmitting the information from sender to the receiver. The information should be kept secret. So that is confidentiality, right? Okay, so here how the blockchain can ensure the confidentiality. Okay, so we have seen the encrypted record so far. The blockchain ensures the only authorized people can access the data. So here, with respect to permission blockchain, I'm speaking. Okay, so only the known entities, so they can access the data. Okay, and data access and disclosure. Okay, if an attacker gains access to a blockchain network and the data, the blockchain data. Okay, so this does not necessarily mean that the attacker can read or retrieve the information. Okay, so we have seen in the blockchain architecture. Okay, so we have seen in the blockchain architecture. So here, even the attacker, okay, so like tries to know the records. So what will happen? Only the encrypted records will be there. Only hash values will be there. Okay, so we cannot retrieve anything. Okay, so just you can go to the Ganache network and you can see. So here we have the list of transactions. Okay, so what we can do with this, right? Yeah, like that. And even if the attacker is modifying some data in the block, so that won't be accepted by the chain. Okay, again it needs a mining. Okay, so the records are secure in the blockchain. Okay, so that is the one. Next we have blockchain and integrity. Okay, so what is meant by integrity? We know integrity is a service. So like according to integrity, the information should not be modified by any other person. Okay, so the blockchain obviously ensures the service called integrity. Okay, so the records are tamper-proof, that we know, right? Yeah. So here a blockchain is built in the characteristics to ensure the integrity service. Okay, so here with help of the transaction ID, we can trace the records, right? The traceability will be possible, and immutability. Okay, so the immutability is nothing but tamper-proof. Okay, so no one can modify the records once you have stored in the blockchain. Okay, so that is tamper-proof. Otherwise, the chain won't be accepted. Okay, so that is the integrity service. And how we can ensure blockchain and availability. Okay, so blockchain and availability. So that one. Okay, so availability is a service, we know. So this is also one of the service, security service. So it will be ensuring timely and reliable access to and use of information. Okay, so that is accessibility. Okay, so the computing resources will be available to the users. Just a minute. Okay, so the computing resources should be available to the users. Okay, so that is availability service. Okay, so here we need to prevent the attacks. Suppose there may be an attack, we're familiar with these attacks, DOS attacks and DDoS attacks, that is denial of service attacks and distributed denial of service attacks. Okay, so here the compromised nodes, the compromised attackers, they will try to target a particular server. Okay, so they will send an invalid request to the server, and they will make the server is busy. Even the server becomes crash sometimes. The server is unable to handle so many requests. So that is kind of a DOS attack, right? Okay, so here like a compromised nodes are the malicious attackers sending so many requests. Okay, so the network will be busy most of the time. Okay, so they're sending so many requests to the server. The server is unable to handle that request. So what will happen? The server is unavailable. The server is not available to any valid users, any legal users. Okay, so we need to prevent such attacks. Okay, so that can be possible using the in the blockchain network. Okay, so even in the Bitcoin networks, there is a solution for DOS attacks. Okay, and even the services will be available to all the users. So the blockchain is a decentralized and distributed network. Okay, it is not centralized architecture. Okay, so and obviously there is no single point of failure. There is no single point of failure, right? Okay, so you can take the attacks like Sybil attacks in the Bitcoin. Okay, so here what attacker will do? Okay, so here attacker attempts to fill the network. Okay, so the attacker or an adversary try to fill the network with the clients under its control. Okay, so even what the nodes will do, so even the nodes in the network, blockchain network, they will refuse, they will reject the valid blocks. Okay, so they will relay only the invalid blocks. So that is attacked blocks. Okay, so it can be lead to a double spending problem. Okay, so the same cryptocurrency can be transferred to the two parties. Okay, and they are approving the transaction. So that is Sybil attacks. So what is the solution for that? So there is a solution for that in Bitcoin, diversifying the IP. So Bitcoin allows outbound connection. So based on the IP address, so there is a solution diversifying the connection, that is there. The solution you can refer. And one more thing like DOS attacks. So even there is a solution for DOS attacks in network, blockchain network like Bitcoin. Okay, so far we have discussed what is meant by DOS attack, like send a lot of data to a particular node or a server. Okay, so what will happen? The server is not able to handle the request. Okay, so the server is not able to process the transactions. Okay, so obviously it is unavailable to the legal users. Maybe even sometimes it's going to be crashed. Okay, so how to avoid such attacks? Okay, so even there is a solution. Okay, so using blockchain in Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, so here what will happen? No forwarding of double spend transactions. Okay, so there may be a network, blockchain network. There may be a number of nodes, right? Okay, so there may be a number of nodes. Okay, so if there is a transaction, the transaction will be broadcasted everywhere. Okay, so the transaction will be broadcasted everywhere. Okay, so here like if the miner examines that like it is a double spending, don't forward it. Okay, don't flood the transaction everywhere. Okay, so that is one of the solution. And no forwarding of same block transactions. So if you are seeing a block 100, okay, so then flood it at one time, just to broadcast it for one time. So don't broadcast again and again. So maybe that is the DOS attack. Okay, and even if you are receiving so many requests from a particular node, so what you have to do, disconnect that particular node, and that sends it too many messages. Suppose you think that like C is sending so many messages again and again. Okay, so the thing is the B will be overloaded, so just disconnect with them. Okay, and even restrict the block size. Okay, so these are the solutions. These are the solutions to prevent the DOS attacks, DDoS attacks in the Bitcoin network. Okay, so let me complete it as soon as possible. Okay, so here security and privacy in blockchain. So far we have discussed so many concepts like anonymity, right? Security, authentication, all the things we have discussed. Yeah, now here we have some concepts, protocols for commitment. So here ensures that every valid transaction from the clients, okay, so it's going to be accepted in the chain. Okay, so we have a protocols for committing the transactions. Okay, so the protocols like consensus we have. Okay, so the consensus, what is the objective of the consensus? So it will ensure the safe operations, reliable operations. Okay, so it will ensure the local copies are consistent and updated in all the blocks. Okay, so then like security, the blockchain ensures security. The data needs to be tamper-proof. Some of the nodes may act maliciously or can be compromised. So here the data should be needs to be tamper-proof. And here the blockchain can provide privacy and authentication services. So that we have discussed the anonymity of the things that we have discussed. No need to discuss again, I think. Okay. So finally, the blockchain in cybersecurity usage. Okay, so like we can use the blockchain. So wherever security will be required, privacy will be required. So there we can apply the blockchain. Transparency will be required. So that's what blockchain for threat intelligence. Even the blockchain will be used for backup and recovery. So compared to the centralized systems. Okay, so even in the networks, so like Internet of Things, in many other networks, the blockchain will be used to ensure the safe operations in order to ensure the security services like authentication, confidentiality, integrity, right? So all the services we can ensure with help of the blockchain technology. Okay, so like industry demand, okay, so not only the cryptocurrencies, other than that we have various use cases. So like most of the sectors, so we are going to use the blockchain. Okay, so you can see the manufacturing, energy, professional services, technology services. So this is a chart. Okay, so like if you would like to know what are the blockchain related initiatives, so already Government of India initiated so many projects. So based on blockchain, okay, so to provide the security services like the trust, transparency, privacy. So you can see the projects, the blockchain projects state-wise. So these are the use cases, various blockchain use cases implementing by various governments in India. Okay, so that's it, I think. Thank you. If you have any queries, I will take it.
Hello, sir. I have a question. Could you please throw some light on machine learning integrated with blockchain? Because I searched for various existing platforms, but there are challenges involved in implementing that, like communication challenge or even like blockchain smart contract is in Solidity, and we are using Python libraries for ML. Then can you throw some light on this?
Yes, sir. So like we can use the blockchain technology. So like what I have seen, there are some projects. So like already there are some applications, blockchain based applications for machine learning. So like what they're telling, like we can save the data sets using the decentralized blockchain. Suppose if you have any data set, so that is very confidential, like you can put it into the blockchain. You can place it into the blockchain. For that we have the IPFS. So if you want to implement that, you need to learn IPFS. Okay, so you can store the data sets in a decentralized blockchain network in order to ensure the security services. So that is possible.
Yes, that I agree. that is possible. But when I'm intended to share the model weights, when there is a trend model and I want to share the weights, so now there comes some challenges into that, like there is ML libraries
Okay.
to integrate with Solidity and all.
Uh,
It is confusing. I came across one blog on Ethereum site, like ML with blockchain, but
Okay, so for that there is a particular solution, sir. Like you have to use. So there is a Hyperledger platform called Sawtooth. Sawtooth is there. So in that, so the available libraries. So there are some libraries with respect to the machine learning. You can explore that.
okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yes, anybody else? Any question? Sir, one question is there in the chat box.
We have
Can
not
you,
seen it, sir.
yeah,
Yes,
I am saying, can you tell us how to get test ethers? I think you showed one
yes, sir.
at MetaMask, no? So,
Sir,
yeah.
yes, sir. So there is an option so there is a buy option is there. You can click on the buy option. So after that, so there is a test facet. So you can click on the test facet. Okay, so various test networks, you have different procedure to get that. Okay, so the test network will give you some ethers. So for example, in a ring-based test network, you have to post the address of your Ethereum in the post. So like you can use the Facebook or Twitter. So just post the address of the Ethereum account. So then they will credit 7 ethers per day. So that is that is the procedure in a ring-based test network. Similarly, we have the Ropsten test network. So like 1 ether you can request at a time from that facet. So there is an option called facet. Okay, so buy option is there. So you can click on the buy option. Then facet, one option is there. You can click on that, and you can
Yes,
follow the
yes.
procedure. Yeah.
Sir, please stop sharing your screen.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any other
Sir.
question? Yes,
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 sir.
please.
Sir, nice presentation. Thanks for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sir, as far as the research concerned,
Okay.
sir, as and when we want to deploy on top of blockchain network, for suppose if it comes for performance analysis,
Okay.
basically it requires some power to always mine the miners, and the consensus program should be run and all these things. No, that will be there on top of the blockchain network.
Okay.
But as far as the performance analysis concerned, how can we calculate our application related performance analysis along with this blockchain model? So because we need to bring it here into the application now. So can this be separate?
Yeah. Actually, this is separate. Now, suppose if you are deploying some applications, obviously you are using Ethereum or any other networks. So that is consensus algorithms are prefixed. So they have already defined the prefix algorithms like a proof of work or proof of stake. Okay. So if you want to increase the efficiency, you need to design your own consensus algorithm and you need to deploy. So that is also
that only the way that we can go, because otherwise it is very hard to implement, and it is very hard to build our own things as far as today's concerned. Maybe in future it may come.
I agree with that. So the other option is we need to use the better algorithm, consensus algorithm. Various platforms are available. Okay, so maybe the platforms are using like some efficient algorithms also. For example, permission blockchain networks like Byzantine fault tolerance and even draft algorithm. So that will take very less time compared to proof of work and proof of stack. So you need to compare such algorithms and you need to consider for your research application.
Okay. And sir, in this message passing will be there, no?
Yeah.
Like it will be there in, I think, Gossip or something they are using.
Okay.
Right. So how can we rely on that? As you are mentioning all that, this is going to have a lot of features. Of course, we understood, but how can we rely on that? Because
so actually,
somebody else.
Yes, we can relay, like we have to run that algorithm. So like entire algorithm I have not explained. So due to shortage of time, so you can just go to the BFT or PBFT and you can see the implementation. Okay, so like how the protocols they have implemented. So we'll get the proper answer for that.
Okay. Sir, can you please name it on the chart? Because
okay, so the algorithms names.
Yeah. Or else you can provide it to.
So you can refer BFT, Paxos, or RAP. So the in detail you will get the algorithm and the explanation as well. So that you can understand how the consensus will be achieved in this.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir. I'm Shanmuga Priya.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it is a very basic doubt, sir. So I can see that many of them are investing on blockchain and they are implementing their services on it. So who will bear the cost, sir? For every transaction, if there's going to be a cost, then who will bear it?
Yes, ma'am. Here for the testing and the deployment purposes, we are going to use the test networks. So in real time, if you are deploying, so there is a mainnet. So far, I have seen I have demonstrated one MetaMask, right? So
Yes,
for
yes.
that, we have different types of test networks. Okay, so if you want to develop any project, so you can use the test network, and you make sure that if the project is working properly, so then if you want to deploy in the real time, so then you need to purchase. So there is a deployment cost. So even you have to deploy into the a cloud. So there is a services providing Azure and AWS for that. Okay, so in the real time, so the cost will be associated. For the testing purpose, there is a test ethers will be there. Personal networks are there.
So one more doubt connected to this, sir. So in case we are going to use this for storing certificates.
Yes, ma'am.
So in that case, who will bear the cost? The person who's storing the certificate, or
Okay, so for example, you can say that, ma'am, some particular university, you can say that the Bennett University. Okay, so they're going to implement the blockchain-based certificate management, the distribution of the management. They will manage, so they have to pay.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the university will bear the cost.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So if it is something like a DigiLocker, then whoever is going to save their content will have to bear the cost.
Yes, ma'am. So even there is a transaction fees, right? So
Okay.
whenever you are going to access, there is a transaction fee will be applicable. They will collect
Okay.
it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, anybody else? No? Okay. Okay, then thank you, Dr. Sashidhar, for a nice presentation on blockchain and giving hands-on session on blockchain and also highlighting how cybersecurity problems can be solved using blockchain. Thank you. Thank you once again for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all. So dear participants, we will meet at 1:40, 1:50, and we will start the next session at 2 p.m. Thank you.